Over the last few months, I'm sure many of you have been hearing the name Kaspa across many of the interwebs of crypto. Whether it be on Twitter, whether it be YouTube comment sections, or Patreon communities like my own, people are talking about Kaspa and especially talking about what its price is doing right now. Of course, many of your altcoins have not had the best year, not the worst year, but not the best year in 2023, but Kaspa has absolutely been on fire. I mean, you can see here its price is sitting right around an all-time high around 5 cents, and it has been absolutely crushing most of your altcoins in comparison, such as some of your smaller ones around that $1 billion market cap. Now, as a result of this, I have been getting a consistent inflow of questions like, Tyler, should we buy Kaspa right now? It's at an all-time high, but will it go higher? Is it too late to buy it? What should we be doing if we are going to buy it? And my goal for today is to answer the question, is it too late to buy Kaspa from a technical perspective? Now, the reason we're going to talk about it from a technical perspective and focus on its chart and its price is because the answer is pretty clear from a fundamental perspective. If you fundamentally believe in Kaspa, if you fundamentally believe that it can grow and develop from here, that there will be additions to the company as a whole, that there will be additions to the token as a whole, that they will get on some of these major exchanges, and that they will see some widespread adoption as we do enter into a bull market, hopefully pretty soon, then the answer is pretty clear, right? It's not too late to buy Kaspa, and you should buy it even if it is around an all-time high, because the likelihood is there's a lot more growth from here on the way if it does, conquer some of these challenges in its way. But from a more technical perspective, the answer is not as clear, being that it is at an all-time high, so I want to answer that for you today. And so with that in mind, that is exactly what we are going to do. So looking at Kaspa here, as I mentioned before, this thing is sitting pretty strongly right around its all-time high, right around 5 cents. Now, we can call it 0.52327 if you like, but let's just call it 5 cents. Now, at times like this, generally speaking, I would tell people, hey, buying a new crypto at an all-time high is just not a good idea, right? I always say, look for the pullback, look for some type of consolidation, look for it to cool down, look for it to chill out. But I would almost say that Kaspa is making itself an exception from what I am getting from its charts right now. Now, in all reality, in being realistic here, you never will know what the crypto market can hold. This can all be some type of artificial pump that we're seeing from Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and XRP and all of those. And if they crash, well, likelihood is this thing's going to crash with them at least a little bit. And next thing you know, we're going to see a type of pullback, maybe back down to some of these lower levels. That's always on the table. Okay, let me just make that clear. That's always on the table. If the market crashes, this thing's coming down with it. That's probably what's going to happen. But from a technical perspective of what we can control, I would actually say that it's looking good for some type of possible continuation to possibly even break these all-time highs relatively soon. Maybe see itself climb back up towards 6, 7, 8 cents, somewhere in that region over the next few weeks, possibly the next few months. Now, the reason why I'm under the belief that this is a possibility is from majoritively what we're seeing from your chart prime oscillator. You see, typically what happens here with Kaspa specifically is that it has to create a buildup of bearish divergence, a buildup of bearish resistance, a buildup of bearish indications before it will see that more macro pullback. Let me explain. Let's look back to see what happened back here. So what happened with Kaspa is that its price was climbing to a new all-time high. This is back in April of this year. Of course, what we can see here is that as it was reaching these all-time highs and as it was starting to see some fantastic growth and kind of get a bit overextended to the upside here, we started to really see this build up, right? Overbought readings, red reversal triangles, bearish divergence, peak finder, overbought, red reversal, and it was bouncing and consolidating around this overbought zone. That is usually a sign like, hey, this thing's probably going to pull back. And as you can see here, after this final peak right here, once we did finally set this new lower low, boom, boom, you can see that its price did then fall backwards about 70% to the downside. Now you can even see this is a great example in some of these more micro moves, right? You can see here, we put in this high, just the first one, nothing to worry about. But then we put in this second high here, boom, higher high, but we got the lower high here on this daily chart prime oscillator. That gave us 2 overbought readings, a red reversal triangle, a blue peak finder, and bearish divergence. This buildup then did lead, of course, to this pullback, which of course was, kind of shown by a 27% pull to the downside. It's happened even on more of a midterm level. Of course, you can see here, put in the high, nothing to worry about, but now we've put in this next high, and as we did put in the next high, we got bearish divergence, overbought reading, red reversal triangle, blue peak finder, you get it, okay? So it's typically a buildup, right? As it starts to build up, as we get multiple indications, that's typically when we will see the pullbacks to the downside. And what I'm saying right now is that as we did approach this all-time high, right here, boom, as we did approach this all-time high, we've started to put in, that first overbought reading. Nothing really to worry about, in my opinion, at first. Of course, patterns can change, but until they change, I don't count on them to change. But what happened is that as we have now consolidated, we've got a beautiful pullback to the downside. We've got nearly a full 50% refresh on this daily chart prime oscillator, which then opens the door for another move to the upside here. Generally speaking, what happens with Kaspa is Kaspa will get this consolidation or this pullback. This will pull back and reset about halfway. It will then get another move to the upside, set a lower high. We'll get bearish divergence as the price sets the higher high. We get bearish divergence. Then your secondary and tertiary indicators do print up here, and then the pullback happens. Okay. Now it could come up here. It could come up here. It's really hard to gauge where the price is going to go to, but I would assume it could be upwards of about 7 cents, somewhere around here. Okay. So generally speaking, from what happens typically with Kaspa, I would say that it is in a fantastic position to see another possible move to the upside. So the question then becomes, well, how do we gauge when is that going to happen? Should we buy now? Should we wait? What should we do? This is what I would do. Personally speaking, I would just be looking at this all-time high level, right? Obviously, we put in resistance here, we put in resistance here, we put in resistance here. I would say if Kaspa clears 525 with 2 or 3 4-hour closings, or just a daily close to make it easy, meaning that we absolutely have now broke this level and we're not just going to return back below it like we did here, then I would say I would purchase just a little bit, buy a little bit of Kaspa just to kind of see what happens, okay? Because under that circumstance, I think that we could be now getting ready to, now that we've cleared this out, there is an upside cup and handle pattern. It's not really as effective to the upside of an uptrend. If this was a downtrend into a cup and handle pattern, then obviously I'd be much more intrigued there. But it's still somewhat considerable, I would say. And so because of that, I would say if we do break this cup line here, then we very easily could get that move back to the upside for what could be a nice little move, right? Somewhere upwards of, 20 to 15, 30%, somewhere like that towards the upside. Okay. Now, if that doesn't happen, and if the price does start to pull to the downside or just consolidate and go sideways, I would say that, if we do get back towards around this 4.3 level or this ascending trend line somewhere around here, let's call this about 4.3 to 4.4, I actually will start to dollar cost average myself and pick up just a little bit of Kaspa. Not a lot, just a little bit, because again, that could be the sign that the more macro pullback is now on the way. But in all reality, I think that there's a solid chance that we still get some type of pullback, establish support, and then continue to break out through this pattern. Okay. Many of our indicators are telling us here that there could still be some type of continuation. I mean, even if you look at the more macro perspective on the weekly chart prime oscillator, and let's just clear this off for a second here. Boom. What you can see here is that although there is not much chart history because it needs a good bit of chart history to generate this chart prime oscillator, what we can see is that although we did get this pullback here because of this red reversal triangle, this blue peak finder, and this bearish divergence, although that was the case, we've now reset. We've gotten the green ribbon twist. We have this room to the upside here, and I do believe Kaspa could continue that move, but obviously we just need to kind of wait it out and see what happens as this does play out. Okay, so personally speaking, as I mentioned before, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit back and watch, see how we interact. Let me just get rid of that. There we go. See how we interact with 525 to the upside here, and if we are again capable of breaking this level, then I do believe that it would be a good time to purchase, and there could be a nice 15 to 20% move to the upside coming. So as this all does play out, I will continue to update you. If you want some more Kaspa videos, let me know in the comment section below. I'd be happy to bring it to the channel and talk about it more often. It has very interesting chart history, and so that is something that is intriguing to me. So if that is something you guys would be interested in, if you are interested in just seeing more updates on this, let me know in the comment section. Like this video so more people see it, and of course, well, I will update you all extremely soon. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.